Today's guest went from a prison cell at 17 to a $100 million entrepreneur at 45.
As long as I give up that me not getting to 100 and landing at 7 is perfectly fine, I can't suffer. The suffering is the desire for an outcome that didn't exist.
Caught in a cycle of chaos and addiction, he stumbled across a book in rehab that channeled his destructive drive into relentless ambition.
I think some people in life, they're either spiraling up or they're spiraling down. And you kind of know, like today, are you better than yesterday? No, you're probably spiraling down. Yes, spiraling up. Well, what causes somebody to spiral up? Well,
today he's built and sold 3 startups, buys a new business every month, and has helped over 800 CEOs scale their companies without burning out.
I love when I meet a stupid person that's rich as fuck. That's why the laziest people make the most money, because they don't do things that doesn't make them the most money.
In this episode, we'll expose the $1 tasks that are keeping you stuck, reveal the frequency he uses to attract wealth, and explore how to leverage time to achieve your purpose.
Rich people this, rich people that. If you don't like what they're doing with the money, go get it. If that doesn't motivate you, stop complaining.
Dan Martell, welcome to the Jack Neel Podcast.
It's an honor, bro. I'm pumped to be here. I'm a fan of your work. I love how intentional you are in your research. I can tell, literally, I've been on lots of podcasts, and the way you ask the questions, no pressure, by the way, but like, I just want to let you know that I see the effort and it's appreciated.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's a hard dichotomy because you're always learning new stuff and you're often unlearning a lot of things. Like an issue with some of my style in the past has been, I have really good questions, but I don't necessarily have really good answers, or don't have really good responses when the person gives me their answer. You know, I haven't been feeling what my guests say. I haven't been feeling it and thinking about how do I feel about the way they view the world. But yeah, working on that. So maybe we'll get some of that today.
Heck yeah.
So Dan, you said most people build a business they grow to hate. How do you build a business that you never want to leave?
That's a beautiful question. I think that you're actually rich the moment more money doesn't change what you do with your day. And if you think about that, most people, I can tell what kind of life they're living based on how they live their weekend, because it's a predictor of what you do when you don't have to work. Or if you were, wealthy, that's probably what you do with your time. The challenge is I just don't think humans are designed to not create. I think that's what we're here to do. So my whole philosophy of like what I call an empire is creating a world that we have unlimited creation in a way that doesn't feel like effort. So like, to me, the perfect life or business where you don't hate it is where every day, it's not that you don't choose to do hard things, but you don't have to do hard things. That you choose to do the hard things because they're expansive and they're creative and they challenge you and they're opportunities to be in flow, but they're not putting out fires. Most people never get the privilege of experiencing work in a way that just feels effortless.
You mentioned creativity. It makes me think of often this shiny object syndrome, lady in the red dress. Where do you channel that kind of creative, opportunistic energy? It might be a little easier because you're investing in a lot of different companies and have your hands in so many buckets, but how do you think about that? I've heard recently that people should channel their creativity into their marketing. I thought that was fairly good advice, but how do you?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you said the word creativity, I go to my mornings because I spend the first 2 to 3 hours every day creating connected to my creator. So I'm a person of faith. I believe when we do it right, we're not technically creating. In many ways, we're downloading. We're transitioning. We're essentially a transmission to the ideas, and we get it because like sometimes when you're driving home from work and you're just like, you have these ideas come to you, right? Elizabeth Gilbert wrote an incredible book called Big Magic. And her whole philosophy is like, you will be presented opportunities to change your life. Whether you reject them or not is your decision. That's the big magic. So when you say creativity, my most creative time is first thing in the morning where I think of problems that I want to solve. And I sit there and either I doodle on my iPad, I draw, thinking about models, methodologies, strategies, sequencing, or I'm writing, I'm creating, I'm consuming, I'm thinking about how could I say this differently? Because like the content isn't for the content is for communication. Like I create content to serve the teams that I work with. The coolest part about my world is I get to help people I love in my world, and it takes nothing from me, and the rest of the world gets the benefit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I think people, they consume it and they're like, why is he creating content? Oh, you don't understand. I created that for my wife. This story was for my brother. That was for my best friend, Nick. That's for my kids. And in the morning, I'm like literally going like how, like whatever happened the day before, if I wanted a different outcome, what could I have said or taught that could have maybe potentially, this is the key, is it's always this thing like the people that I'm trying to help with the stories, if that's what I'm doing, like writing my book, they may never see it, but that's okay because at least it exists in the world. They were the muse for me to even come up with the idea, to be exposed to the problem, to create. And I think most people would feel really fulfilled if they allowed themselves to look at problems as directions for what they should focus on creating. That's all it is for me. Anytime I deal with a problem, I'm like, oh, that's my next thing. That's my area of opportunity. So it's either I'm doodling to try to figure out sequencing or like strategy or like look at a picture, or I'm writing to communicate maybe that picture even, right? If I'm creating a training or a framework or some kind of talk, and then I write. Man, the first 2 or 3 days of my day is like my favorite part because that's when I'm creating.
It's really interesting perspective every time you have, let me know if I'm getting this correct. Like every time you have a problem or someone in your business has a problem, someone in your personal life, you try to find that solution through writing and creativity and then put it out into the world to try to mitigate that in the future. Even if they don't necessarily see it, you still think someone else might struggle with it. Where did you come to that philosophy?
I mean, I have this core philosophy that is the world will show you where you're not free. So as you go through the world, people, environments, situations, they're all going to present to you where you're not free. And the reason you know you're not free is because you had an emotional reaction to it. So then what I do is I take that and I go, oh, that's my opportunity to try to become the person who could have dealt with that in a way that was productive. Productive meaning either I didn't react, I knew the solution to it, or whatever it is. And what's interesting from a content point of view, I actually think the things that you should be teaching in your content are the things you're experiencing from the world because that's why you experience them.
Right.
Spiritually speaking, that's why you, uniquely you, through the filter of your fingerprint of existence and soul, you reacted, you felt that, you saw something. 100 other people could have saw the same thing you saw and didn't even think the thing you thought. 100 other people could have experienced the situation at work and not be irritated, angered, frustrated, annoyed by it, but you did. Then you use that story as the glue to teach the world. And I think it's the coolest place to live. Like when I'm in the thick of something, even though I know I can't talk about it right away because I still have to process and figure out what's the lesson I'm going to learn, I get excited because I'm like, man, this is a good one. You know what I mean? Like the big stuff, like the big challenges, the setbacks, the rebuilds. You're like, oh, someday that's going to be the opening story of a book or a chapter or a tweet. But it's like, that's the way I look at the world. And then it makes it not hard because I'm always like, oh, I'm grateful for this because I get to use it as content to help other people.
I like that.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I wish everybody thought that way. I think they would be less angry.
Every problem benefits you in some way.
You and then the world, and whether they see it or not, it's up to them.
You mentioned something along the lines of the spiritual nature of this. I wanted to ask, do you see money as spiritual energy? And what frequency attracts money?
I look at money as like a battery. And you got to charge it, and then you get to use it for other things. One of the interesting things about money, right? It's man-made, it's created. You know, people made it up.
It's not real.
Yeah, back in the day, it was called a ducat. That was the first form of like it was like a coin, and that's how we went away from like bartering to the first coin was called a ducat, and it was made out of a precious metal which had value and you can concentrate it, and that's the battery concept. And what I find interesting about money is that people think that you buy things with money, but you don't. You buy things with the time it took you to make the money. And if you think of the time to make the money as energy, then you technically bought it with energy. So when you say, is money energetic? 100% it is, because it's only created through the energy of the creation of the person. I hope I didn't lose everybody, but I mean, just as like I just don't understand why people don't understand how spiritual it is. The energy that you want to attract it is the belief that you're valuable, right? Most people don't feel like, either they feel like I can't do it and it's like this victim mentality, or there's other folks like ourselves that it's like, no, I'm going to be accountable for my life and I'm going to go try to create something because I know what I'm doing is valuable. And there's an expectation there that the world should reward me from that. And that's the energy side. So that's the mental model. Like, what energy attracts money? The idea of abundance, the idea of creating value, the idea of deservingness, of self-worth, the accountability. Like, I think people that think that they deserve stuff that never did anything because they're not accountable for their situation. I mean, that's a repellent. I mean, it's so funny when people are like striving to create in the world. And I'm like, there's $1 trillion. I think it's like $6 trillion exchange hands today. Could you just go get like a little piece of that? You know what I mean? If you actually like looked at the economy as like an ocean, and really what you're asking me is to have like a little tiny thimble to go dip it into the ocean to get a little piece of that ocean, it's not crazy. But you can't just sit on the sideline and the shoreline and just hope that your little thimble gets filled with water. Like, you're going to have to. So that energy of thinking of like, how do I go do that? That's why I think money is energetic.
You'd mentioned on Lewis Howes' podcast, which I really enjoyed, a specific frequency that attracts money. What was the significance of that? And what frequency is that?
I don't even remember what I said.
I think it was something like 430.
Oh, 433?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the energy of, I think it's love. It's abundance. In my house. And what was cool about the interview with Lewis is that I've known him for 15 years and we've never done a podcast together. So we got to sit down. It was, yeah. And I had my kids there and he just bought a home and we're in his basement and we're just loving, we're just like, there's a real celebration of like, we're both really proud of each other as friends for that long, that just created this conversation that I will always cherish. Like, it was just, there was something in the air. And that idea that money is a frequency is kind of like, I think some people in life, they're either spiraling up or they're spiraling down. And you kind of know, like, today, are you better than yesterday? No, you're probably spiraling down. Yes, spiraling up. Well, what causes somebody to spiral up? Well, your emotions, right? Emotion creates motion. So what are the emotions that is an upward spiral? Gratitude, grace, love, joy, laughter. And I think 433 is actually like the energy of love. Like, it's this abundance mentality, right? What pulls you down? Anger, frustration, cynicism, jealousy. And I have this poster in my house that is like in the kids' room that shows the upward spiral energies and the downward spiral energies, because I just point to it with the kids and I'm like, okay, right now, where do you think you're at? And they're like, meh, meh, meh. I'm like, I know. You want to have a better rest of the day? Let's focus on this. And I always go to gratitude. I don't care what they're dealing with. I always ask them, what are you grateful for right now? And specifically, what are you grateful for that is just minute? Like, it's not like a warm house. It's like really just like simple stuff. Like, I want to hear them say, fresh air. My heart beat. My heart just beat. I didn't ask it to beat. It did a beat. That's cool. It's going to do a bunch more beats. I've got life. That's awesome. I got a family. Like, I love when my kids can tell me stuff they're grateful for that is so small. It's almost like the smaller, the more I'm like, they're in the upper frequency. And I just think about that. I think that abundance and wealth and feeling rich is that. I know a lot of billionaires that are poor. They're spiraling on the bottom side, man. All their creation is from a place of not enoughness. I wouldn't trade life with that person. There's a lot of people that we follow that are like the top wealthiest people in the world. You wouldn't trade places with.
Right.
So it's not about the money.
I do want to ask about the gratitude portion, because often I find that people don't change their situation and they say they want to adjust their situation and become financially free, become big on social media, get in a relationship. But it's often because they're too comfortable. So how do you think about the difference between making yourself uncomfortable versus expressing gratitude? Because I think the two often blend and keep people from growing.
I think most people get confused with the idea of being grateful for what they have and the desire for more.
Yeah.
Because they think it's in conflict, right? It's kind of like what you said, like, how do I be grateful, but then also create? But I know in the creation, it'll be hard, right? And most people feel guilty for wanting more because they tell themselves, if I want more, it means I'm not happy with what I have.
Right.
And those could not be further from the freaking truth. Like, they're so not correlated. I can be incredibly grateful for everything that I have, and in the same breath, be very aware that I'm alive to create. The difference is, do you create from a place of lack and not enoughness, and then have a desire for creation only to fill the hole? Or do you create from a place of giving and service and abundance that if it does make money, that's awesome. And if it doesn't, also awesome. And I feel like that's what creates suffering. That's what creates pain. And my gratitude is always a remembrance of like where I came from and why I'm here. And it doesn't take away from the opportunity for me to desire, and not desire, because it's not a desire. It's just, man, people are going to wake up every day and work anyway.
Right.
Why not create something that even when it's done inspires you? Like, I remember a long time ago, one of my mentors said to me, he's like, you know, you have a goal. At the time, it was like $1 million. And he goes, you're going to work for the next 10 years because you have a goal for $1 million. He said, why is it not 10? I said, well, why is it not 10? Why is it not 100 million? You know, it's like, it's not that. He said, it could be 100 million. He said, the only difference between you getting to 10 versus 1 million is just a set of decisions by deciding today what you want to focus on. And I was like, this makes no sense to me. But when I looked at my life and I started realizing that every day I was making decisions aligned with a goal, and I either make line decisions with 1 million or with 10 or even 100, as long as I give up that me not getting to 100 and landing at 7 is perfectly fine, I can't suffer. The suffering is the desire for an outcome that didn't exist. So then I just changed my whole frame. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to create to the level of my expansion, whatever's possible. And if it serves people, cool. And if it doesn't, zero sadness, which is crazy. It took me like 10 years to figure this out, because like, I don't know. I don't want to create content that nobody sees, but at the same time, if that's the feedback I need to hear to go work on something that makes it better, then that's probably what I need to hear. So if I put a video out there and it doesn't get any views, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing videos. I'm going to be grateful for the fact that I can create videos. Then I'm going to say, okay, I want to create today. How can I create better? How can I support those that, you know, with my message, with my content? And that was the interesting part. The moment I stopped making it about me and I started making it about other people, it all changed. And that's gratitude. Gratitude is the gratefulness for having what you have that energizes you to go, okay, grateful, and I'm here to create. What can I build?
I guess on the gratitude portion, again, what are like the direct actions you take every day that you would recommend to most people to express gratitude? Is there a certain framework you do?
Yeah, I got a lot of frameworks. I'm a systems nerd. The first one, whenever I get in a head funk, like, dude, I'm human, man. I'm the humanist of humans. People hear me, they're like, does this guy not get sad? No, I get sad. I get disappointed. You know, I can have a dark cloud over my head. When I feel that, like, let's say, I don't know, I just came from finding out that my car blew up, but I'm here with you. I literally would go to, how can I appreciate even more God's grace and guidance in this moment? And I get super centered. I just appreciate it. Like, I think that most people don't even know the questions to ask themselves to get into gratitude. And that to me is one, when I'm outside my head and I'm like worrying about things I can't control, I go back to that question and that gets me focused on the gratitude for my life. Like, dude, there's a day where I'm going to not breathe and I'm not going to be here anymore. And while I'm here, I want to be here. And dude, sometimes I get so grateful. I remember I was driving with my kids the other day. Have you ever heard the song Oceans by Hillsong? They're like a church.
Sounds familiar.
Ocean. It's a beautiful song. And I hit play. I'm like listening to it in the car. My boys are in the back seat because they treat me like an Uber driver. And I start to hear them sing this song. And they can't see me, but I'm in the front seat just in tears because I'm overwhelmed with the gratitude that I have two healthy boys in the back seat singing this beautiful song, top of their lungs. Like I never taught them this song. They must have heard me listen to it enough times that they learned the lyrics. And I'm just like, this is such a beautiful moment. If I wasn't able to recenter myself, that moment could happen and I could have been totally distracted. You know what I mean? And I think like the idea of presence and the intentionality of being here now, Eckhart Tolle talks about this, like that's when my life the more I realize that there is only ever the now, that the past and the future are just made up memories of some thing that's whatever. Like I'm just more connected to that gratitude.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to dive more into that, but I fear that there are some other topics, a little more business, and maybe we'll touch on some of this stuff more toward the end. I understand that it's all business, of course.
It's the end of all business, man. Yeah.
You said if you want to be rich, be lazy. And if you want to be wealthy, be incompetent. Why do stupid people get wealthy?
I love when I meet a stupid person that's rich as fuck. Fucking love it.
Happens more often.
Oh, all the time. All the time. I got mad at myself when I was younger because I think I was too smart for my own good. I'd overanalyze. I'm a software guy. I'd judge people. I'd be like, why are they doing this? And they don't understand theory of constraints and manufacturing and Six Sigma and lean and all this stuff. And that's when I realized some of the smartest people are the poorest people because they overanalyze. People.
So true.
Yeah. And the reason why is the most expensive thing you pay for is anytime you're not doing the thing that makes you the most money. Let me say that again. That's why the laziest people make the most money, because they don't do things that doesn't make them the most money. And if they can pay somebody else to do the thing, accounting, operations, HR, like, dude, in the content world, Jack, I see people that are like, they're making money and they're still doing everything. And because they can. And what happens is oftentimes your number one strength becomes your Achilles heel of growth. Your smart marketing will stop you from hiring another person to help you with that, because it's the thing you know best that you'll be most critical of. Period, full stop. And that's what happened to me. I had a ceiling and I was like, okay, I want to grow. Why can't I grow? Because I'm holding on to stuff. Why am I holding on to stuff? Because I'm good at it, because I enjoy doing it. And it turns out the most expensive thing for me to do is hold on to the thing that's taking my time and stopping me from doing the thing that could make me the most money, which wasn't the thing I was good at. And it's such a mental mind fuck for people to hear. So you're telling me I got to act lazy? I'm like, yeah, you have to literally let things burn a little bit and work with the people to fix it. I'm not talking kitchen fires. I'm talking like garbage fires. The kitchen fires you got to put out. Okay. Those are like, I can't pay my taxes. Right. But the garbage fire is like, oh no, this thing is out of alignment. You know what I mean? And that's where, like, oftentimes when my team comes to me and they ask me a question and I know the answer, and they're like, but Dan, I was like, oh, it's above my pay grade. Because if I answer it, I'll always have to answer it. And then I taught people how to treat me. And then I taught them if they want to move forward, they should come and ask me the question and I'll give them the answer, which means they can't make a decision without getting me to give the answer. And it feels good to me because then I'm putting out fires and I feel useful. But that's why when you meet people that are literally like, I'm not smart enough to know this. I just hired Bob. I coached a guy. His name's Tom. Tom's awesome. And he came to me at 2 businesses. He had a $12 million a year recruiting company and a software company that did $5 million a year. And he said, what should I do, Dan? I said, you need to hire 2 CEOs to run those companies. He goes, where do I find those CEOs? I said, you got to hire a recruiter to hire the second in command at the number 1 company in each space, because those people will know how to run the thing bigger than where you're at and will come in because you're going to give them CEO title and just run it for you. Tom went and hired the recruiter I recommended, hired those 2 people, let those people take over, and his business doubled in the next 12 months.
Tom did less.
He didn't do anything. And if you talk to Tom, he would tell you, I'm not that smart. I just listened to Dan. And we've all been there, man. Like when people, they come into your life and they ask you for advice and you give them the advice and they do the thing and then they get the result. And then everybody's like, hey man, why do you think that guy's winning? Because he doesn't argue with me. He models before he modifies. You're so smart. You take what I say, you muck it up, you do something that you think is what I said. I didn't say that. And then you don't get the result where this guy goes, hey, I just want the blueprint. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. If you tell me I got to do this, this, and this, and you have a result I don't have, I'm just going to listen to you. If I'm trying to work out, I want bigger biceps. You got 21-inch biceps. I'm going to follow your program for 12 weeks. I'm not going to sit there and go, okay, he told me this and I'm going to, but my body's a little different and I'm not eating as much protein as him. And maybe I'm not on that special creatine plus or whatever it is. Right. But I'm going to, at least me personally, I'm just going to follow it. And that's when I say like lazy or dumb. People are like, he can't be serious. I kind of am. Like I'm very serious. You got to allow yourself to step back, act lazy, right?
Quick one. Guys, if I'm being honest, I used to do these $10 tasks myself when I started this channel. I was so stubborn, I was doing tasks that I didn't have to do. Video editing, thumbnails, paying my employees, keeping track of every little expense because I thought that real entrepreneurs did everything. But a few weeks ago, I was working on a new business related to the podcast, and we saved so much time setting it up by using Doola. They take care of all the tedious work on the back end. Setting up an LLC, bookkeeping, taxes, and if you're overseas, they can get you set up with a US bank account. They're actually a lifesaver if you're a content creator, new business owner, or just stressed out by dealing with numbers and paperwork all day. So if you're serious about buying back your time and not doing things that don't make you the most money, just let Doola handle all the boring stuff. If you guys want to check it out, you can go to doula.com/Jack Neel, or you can use code Jack Neel at checkout to save 10%. They also offer free calls or consultations if you're not sure if it's a good fit. But anyway, back to the podcast.
One of the hardest things I know my wife ever went through was allowing people to support her, especially in the home, man. As a mom, dude, she would pre-clean the home before the clean lady showed up. She would do all the stuff our house manager needed to do before she even showed up in the house. And I was like, why do you do that? She's like, I don't know. It's embarrassing, or I feel bad. Or I'm like, why don't you just allow yourself to take some time off, sit on the couch, read your book? She's like, I can't sit on the couch while I watch somebody else work around me. It's really weird. And I was like, just ask them if they feel awkward about it. So like even being lazy or acting dumb is really uncomfortable for people. But the only way for you to move forward is to learn to let go. And that's how you learn to let go.
You're also taking away something from someone else.
Yeah.
An opportunity to learn, improve at a skill. Maybe they just really enjoy it, Like I've had several cleaning ladies that really like cleaning. And they seem like they're having a good time. And I've dated some girls that also like to clean the place up beforehand. I'm like, no, she likes it,
Am I going to stop her?
It's like the whole thing with, do you hire someone to take care of the lawn for your father? Or, it's like, you don't want to take that away from him because maybe he just really loves it.
He does.
But you might think, I don't like it, so he can't.
Well, my dad used to say that he had rental properties, and he would say he would every other Sunday, have to go mow all these rental properties. And I was like, why do you mow them? Like most people I know that have rental properties pay somebody to cut the lawn. And he goes, well, I like doing it. And I said, well, if you like doing it, why don't you do the neighbor's lawn? He's like, well, I don't like doing it that much. I was like, well, then I think our definitions of like are a little different.
That's a good one. I'm sorry to stop you. Like if you really like doing it that much, then do it for
other people
for free.
And if you don't, then I think you're not being honest about what you like to do.
Yeah, you're just you want it to be a certain way.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it's like the idea of taking jobs from other people. I had a client, Aaron, okay? And he was like, he read the book, he's into it, he applied it, all this stuff, buy back your time at work. I can't get my wife on board with the house manager, he says. I was like, I hear you. My wife doesn't want somebody in the house, blah, blah, blah. What do I say? And I'm like asking, trying to figure out like what belief can I help her shift that would get her open to it? And we started with cleaning because that's the gateway drug to something a little bit more meaningful. And it was 2 hours, but the language that got his wife on board was what you just said. I told him to ask her, do you like to support people in your community? Yes, because he did a bunch of charity stuff. Would you feel guilty if you accidentally took a job from somebody that needed it? Yes. Then is it okay if we create an opportunity in our home to have somebody come in and clean the home instead of you doing it so that we can create employment for somebody else? That started her. Now you fast forward 2 years, Aaron's wife and his cleaning, well, the cleaning lady that became the house manager, okay, Patricia, he goes before Patricia goes. You know what I mean? Like the wife is like, she's become part of the family. But it started with the belief that I want to create opportunity. And I think that's a cool frame to just like ask yourself, if you have a hard time letting go, well, what if you get somebody in your life that you get to pour into and you get to change their life because of that opportunity? Let go. Like create more abundance in this world. Stop acting from a place of like lack of security. It's really insecure, right? It's like the need for everything to be perfect, this control frame. I don't know, man. I got really good at just learning to let go.
To touch back on something you said a moment ago, this whole idea of removing things from your life. I've noticed that people oftentimes need to remove more than do more. Like most people it kind of ties in with another concept. I don't usually share opinions, but I don't think most people are lonely. I think a lot of people are overstimulated. I think they're getting too much. It's not a lack thereof. And I think a lot of the times that's the case in business too, because people usually are doing something at every hour of the day until they sleep. No one's really just sitting there and looking at a wall.
Is it just like learning to like, it's not about adding, it's about subtracting?
Yeah, most of the time. I hate giving people advice that isn't removing something from their life. I hate giving additive stuff.
It's my favorite thing because like, you know, I have some cool cars. And when I drive around, my favorite thing is to like see some kid just light up. And I love the conversations. And they always ask me the same conversation. What do you do to afford this car? Like I would want to know if I was 8 or 9 or 10. And I love that question because then my response to them is it's not what I do, it's what I don't do.
Right.
Because here's what I don't do. I don't lay around. I don't hit snooze. I don't pretend like people are going to change my life for me. I don't complain. I don't talk shit about other people. I don't accept people in my life that talk crap about other people. I don't eat crap and expect my body to feel good. I don't vape. I don't gamble. I don't drink. And I know sometimes when I'm looking at these little dudes and dudettes' eyes, they're like, you don't sound very fun. But then I go, see the car? Let me tell you what's fun. Downhill mountain biking, super fun. Flying around on my own jet, super fun. Speaking on stage in front of 1,000 people, super fun. Having access to resources is super fun. Being friends with people that you admire, super fun. And guess what? None of that happens without me being honest about what I had to let go. My life gets better every time I take something out. Elimination diet style. When I take things out, I'll be honest with you. My kids a few months ago were little ding dongs. Like the biggest little brats and fighting all the time, 2 boys. It's normal. People would tell you it's normal. I just got to a point. This is all I did. I said, if it was serious and I had to solve the problem, like I'm talking like really serious, like they're fighting and blood's being drawn and they're just like crazy, you would probably have to put them in a home. You know what I mean? Like they have I'm not saying they are, but I'm just saying like I always go to the extreme and then kind of work backwards. So if the extreme is they have to go in a home, what would the home do different than our home? I'll tell you what that home would do. It would not feed them sugar. It would not give them devices. It would not, it would make them play outside. It would there's all these things that place would do to create an environment for them to be successful. And I said, I don't need to send my kids away. I'll just do it here. And I told my house manager, Betty, grab all the devices, the VR, the tablets, the phone. Like one of my oldest has a phone, but he doesn't really have a phone, but part-time, and take it out. Go into the pantry, all the snacks, unless it's Whole Foods, not in my home, get rid of it. My wife was so upset, Jack. She was like, what are you doing with my chocolate? What are you doing with the chips? I'm like, babes, are you happy with the kids always fighting? No? Then let's just try something different. The next day, man, I had different humans in my home. My two boys, I'm like, what the like, this is crazy. I didn't add something. I didn't do meditation with them. I didn't start gratitude journaling. I didn't, it was literally taking stuff out. Like you talked about stimulus. I just took stuff out of their life. And then and I just think most people want to add stuff, the new habit, the new thing. It's like, bro, you want to know the ultimate personal development program? Wake up and ask yourself, what decision did I make yesterday that I wish I didn't make? It could be how you responded to somebody, something you ate, skipping the gym, like something. You woke up today, and if you reflect on the day before and you said, man, how could I make that better? I probably would have made this part of my life different. Work on that today. Ultimate personal development program is as simple as reflect on the previous day, realize there was a thing that you would have done better. Today, make a commitment to do that part better. And today. Tomorrow morning, do the same thing. The day after, same thing. If you do that, you will learn that it is a process of taking stuff away, not adding, that's making you successful.
On the delegation portion of this, because they're very highly correlated.
Learning to let go.
$10 tasks. What are $10 tasks, and what tasks are keeping people broke?
We live in this app economy where you can pay. Think about this. People are like, I'm going to go run that errand instead of using, let's say, Grubhub or TaskRabbit or some app to go do it because I don't want to pay the $6. That's a $10 task. It's like when I grew up, my dad would drive 20 minutes out of his way to save 1.5 cents per liter on fuel.
Why do people do this, man?
Dude, I watched one of my best friends do it the other day, man. We were out snow biking. We had these machines or like dirt bikes with kits in the snow, and we're filling up gas. And he wants to drive 15 minutes out of the way to go get farm fuel. That's what it's called, farm fuel. There's a special gas station that sells farm fuel that we get to save money on. And he wants to drive. And this guy is worth $100 million. And they tell themselves these stories of like, the reason I'm rich is because I count the pennies. No. Like, let's analyze it. The reason you're rich is because you did the work to do something that created massive amounts of value in the world. And if you're smart, you figured out how to share that with other people that wanted to see you win. And they selfishly did the thing that helped you build the business that caused you to be worth a lot of money. And there's probably things, money beliefs, like, stepping over dollars to pick up dimes that you're doing that you don't realize by driving, 45 minutes out of your day to go save $1.12. Right. Like, it's wild. And, I think that's the $10 task. It's everything from running errands, meals, cleaning, and people are like, oh, I don't know where you live. Can't afford to pay somebody to clean my house for $10. Okay. I'm just using 10 because it's a fun number. But even if you think of like outsourcing work that you do, research work, et cetera, to somebody in a third world country, like there's places in Philippines, if you pay somebody $3.50 an hour, that is awesome sauce. Like they're like really grateful for that job. And these are people that are sitting there spending 4 hours doing research and prep and processing instead of just asking somebody to support them on that work. So I think the home is obviously a great area. But again, before I even talk about that, bro, let's talk about the shit you do that wastes your time. So it's like, I can tell you what to spend money on that's $10 to buy back time, but I want to talk about the vices. I want to talk about your emotional response. You talk about delegation. Who are you going to delegate if you're an asshole and nobody wants to work for you? And those are like these time assassins that I talk about in my book that I think, that's why I put that in chapter 3, because like I can teach you the maths. And you can't argue that, $1 million businesses were not built off $10 tasks. Like it's impossible. You can't work that much. You have to learn to delegate and out task is what I call it. But there's also a set of things like micromanaging, not learning to let go, screaming at people, emotional response, vices, having addictions, where those are, you can buy back a lot of time. Think about how many people drank, said something they regret saying, and then spend hours and weeks of their life trying to make it right. You want to buy back time? That's free. Costs you nothing other than learning how not to act like that. So yeah, I think $10 tasks are all around us. It's just, you just go make a list of all the stuff you did today and then try to like figure out, like, could I have paid somebody $10 or less to do it for me? Could I use an app? Could I have been a little bit more organized? You'd have a buddy. I don't know if it's just his brain doesn't proactively think about, if I'm going here and then I'm going to go here, maybe I should look at the map and start here, go here to be home. You know what I mean? Like, it's like wasteful. Like, it's just that kind of stuff where it literally costs nothing, but why are you even running the errands? My brother has a home building company. And when he started, he would spend most of his time driving to all the sites, which sounds like what you would do. But then he would like go to the sites and then somebody needed something. So then he would drive to the hardware store and then he would go back to the site. So he spent most of his time driving to sites, driving to buy stuff that somebody forgot to bring it back to them, because that's what he thought his job was, because he's the general contractor. And I was like, or you hire somebody called a runner and you ask the runner to call everybody in the site people in the morning and ask them if they need anything, they're missing anything. And then that person goes and runs all the running and then delivers all the stuff. And you stay in your office and you start working on more deals. You talk to clients, you find more land to build. You know what I mean? Like, the most expensive thing that you pay for is the time that you're not doing the thing that makes you the most money.
Right.
And that to me is these $10 tasks to just eat people's time and energy.
You need to be frugal with your time, not the dollars.
You actually have to value your time. And the problem is that if you hang out with people that don't value their time, they'll waste your time.
It's a totally different experience. Like meeting someone that actually values their time. And a lot of people are never around that or put themselves around that.
No.
But once you do, it's like, good example is I checked in at the hotel before I came here and she's like, it's $35 to check in 20 minutes early. And I'm like, it shouldn't even affect me. But I like, there's just a part of my brain that's like, oh, do I have to pay that? And like, I ask her, I'm like, do I have to pay? I'm literally right here. And I'm like, actually, it doesn't matter. But I only get that behavior of not sitting there and waiting for my check-in to be free from watching other wealthy people do it. You know, it's not something I just naturally picked up.
No. And it's a tough one, because if you never actually are asked or forced to quantify your time, then you wouldn't know how to make that trade. Right. And that's why for me, it's a time trade. You have to act like your hour's worth more before it's ever worth more. Like, I wear this watch. Okay. This is an obnoxious watch. It's worth like $360,000 US, $500,000 Canadian. The reason why I wear this watch, not to tell time, because it actually sucks. I do not know what time, I can't figure it out. It's for me to use it as a question, because right now I'm on a path to create $1 billion worth of enterprise value over the next 5 years. If you take $1 billion and you divide it by 2,000, it's 500,000 an hour. So I use this watch to calibrate my calendar, my time, as a reminder. So every time I look at it and I go, I can't believe I spent that much money on a watch. I only wear one watch and it's this watch for that reason. When kids ask me like, why do you wear that watch? I tell them the story because I think it's an interesting question. I need to act like my time is worth $500,000 an hour before it ever is, because it's not today. Nobody's paying me $500,000 for an hour of my time today. But if I don't treat it like it's worth that, then I won't do the steps to get to a place where eventually it will be worth that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I remember Naval Ravikant, who's like kind of like my Yoda, you know, coming from Silicon Valley, and I met him early, and he's just like super wise.
One of the best.
And he talks about, you know, at one point he just decided my hour's worth $500. And because and this was when it wasn't, I started acting like it. So if you asked me for coffee, unfortunately, no. If you needed me to do this, unfortunately, no. Like and it's not like he had other stuff to do, but he created the space where he could then do. He had the calendar space to ask himself, like, what's the next level skill I got to acquire? Who do I need to become? What would need to be true in my life? What would the business empire need to look like to justify $500 an hour? And guess what happened? It then became worth $500 an hour. And then he put it to 1,000, and then he put it to 2,000, and then he put it to 5,000, and then he put it to 10,000, then he put it to 25,000. Always ahead of it ever actually being true. how else are you supposed to calibrate? So like if you actually understood my time is worth $500 an hour and you're paying $35 for 20 minutes, that's a cool trade. As long as you take that 20 minutes and go do something productive with it. Because I'm not a fan of people just like buying back their time and hanging out on the beach. I'm not a 4-hour work week guy. I'm a guy that says, hey, an empire is living a life of unlimited creation you never have to retire from. That's an empire. When people are like, why does it say build your empire? I want that for you, Jack. I want that for everybody listening. I want people to get to a place where they can create unlimited that doesn't feel like work, because then they get to be who they are all the time. Turns out it's really easy being who you are. It doesn't feel like work. It's not heavy. And it's the way you can add the most value in the world. And I think that's just a cool place to try to strive for.
It reminds me, recently, I kind of discovered that about halfway through the journey of this podcast, it went from being about trying to find a good business to work on to trying to be number one. Because I have this thing where I set these goals and I hit them and I become bored with the thing. And after a few years of doing this consistently, I was like, I need to make one so big and so hard that if I hit it, by the time I quit, like the thing is running and there's no reason to stop doing it. A podcast is a great one like that.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan just has to show up every week. He reads books, researches the guest, but it's fun once you've built the thing. But in this process of setting this big goal of becoming number one, again, like you're saying,
did you make that goal?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Dude, that's cool.
And it removed a lot of things from my life quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's like those things can exist.
Yeah. You can't ask yourself to have a goal that's as big as be number one and then show up allowing people to be small or ask you to be small. And I don't mean that it's not a better than thing. It's literally also your actions. They have to be bold. Like you can't wake up and say, I want to be number one and drag your feet.
Right.
Or avoid risk or don't take your shot or
complain about when something hard happens.
No, you just can't. It's kind of like, that's the cool part of like deciding to do something that's so crazy. And I've always been inspired by Elon. I mean, as long as he could communicate words about space, he said, my goal is to, essentially colonize Mars. He goes, I would like to die on Mars, just not on impact. Like he jokingly says this, but he set a goal that's so fantastical. He literally gives himself a 30% chance of achieving it while he's alive. That's crazy. We're all thinking in like this blue earth constraints of goals. He's like galactic.
I'll tell you that from understanding YouTube, the number that everyone searches the most, and you probably realize this doing business financial related content, is how to make $10,000 a month doing X.
Yep.
$100,000 a month looks the same as 10K a month to people. 1 million a month looks the same as 10K to people because they don't know how to think that far. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't look at the analytics. I got mad at my guy, Sam, for always doing this 10K a month thing. I was like, bro, I don't, but I get it. Cause that's like this mental barrier for people where they just feel like something magical is going to happen. This freedom thing is going to show up. And they don't realize that it's never been about the money, bro. 10K doesn't do anything. What are you going to stop working? No. Like it's so interesting that, but I get it. You need some targets and you got to calibrate and it's a good place to start. But it's like, how about you just go decide to be the best? I don't know why, because I grew up in a small town in Eastern Canada, 100,000 people in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. It's like literally nobody's heard of this town, French Canadian.
How many people?
100,000. Okay. Yeah. And it's just really cool. It's not little, like buttfuck. A lot of people are like 8,000, but it's, but it's got, but I don't know why, but from the day one, 1997, I started online. I always use the language world class. Maybe I read it in a book. Maybe a mentor of mine told it to me, but like there was something about just saying world class. Even if I knew I'm kind of being dumb, like you're not a world class programmer, I'd say, I know I'm not. I just would like to be one. And guess what? I'm cool committing the rest of my life to be a world-class programmer or eventually a world-class business person or world-class content creator, whatever, because I would rather wake up with a goal that inspires me that I know is big enough to grab other people's attention than to like, that's why the 10K bugs me so much. I'm like, every human is able to do more. And I get that's where you're going to start. But let's like, what if you accidentally hit that and your potential was 100K or $1 million? Most people, the biggest problem they have is they aim for a goal that's so low that they actually hit it instead of striving for something bigger and ending that back to that million versus 10 million in 5 years. You could have ended up at 6. You just had to decide to go bigger. So that's my whole rant on that 10K a month thing.
What's the most ridiculous thing you delegate? You're like, oh, this might be a little extra.
A little too much. My car collection. So my house manager manages my vehicles and she drives all of my supercars and she hates it, especially the SVJ because you can't see shit. If you ever been inside of a Aventador or Lamborghini, especially that one, and just because it makes her nervous and it shoots flames and the exhaust is obnoxious and she just, and one mistake could cost me $50,000. I think most people would never do that. Mm-hmm. And I do that without even missing, like skipping a beat.
What's something you refuse to delegate out of enjoyment?
Yeah, time with my, like the work with my, I mean, it's not, you can't delegate that, but it's like, I think a better answer is, what do I refuse to delegate? That's a great question. I like to problem solve with people. You know, Cohen on my team recently asked me, he goes, is there anything that you don't want to use AI for that you could because you enjoy doing it? And I told him that. I said, I love to collaborate with people. It's my personality type. Even sometimes when I'm like behind on a project that I need to do that I really only I can do and I really don't want to do it, I'll just schedule time with other people to be on a Zoom call with me to ask me every 30 minutes, are you making progress? Because there's something energetic about working with somebody on something that just feels really good to me. I think it comes from my desire to always pour into people. Like I like to work out with people. I like to hike with people. I like to, fly around my plane with people. I just think anytime I'm by myself doing something and somebody's not there, I'm missing an opportunity to teach somebody, just even if they watch me work. So by default, I would never delegate that problem solving stuff at the highest level because that's actually like where I enjoy life, And it's funny because I wrote the book called Buy Back Your Time. So it's like, there's a balance.
Yeah.
Because the other question Cohen asked me is, what have you held on for too long that you got to let go of? And I knew. It's the, what are you pretending not to know? I think it's a beautiful question.
Just to give the audience some context, I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but what's the mission? Because it'll help me distill
my mission,
every action.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
Man, I get emotional sometimes when I think about it. I really want to rid the world of youth feeling broken. I'm just fucking, if you want to see me get violent, tell me that a kid can't. If you want to see Dan angry, tell me that a kid is broken, that they have a problem, that they have a fucking 3-letter acronym. If you want to see me fight, I will fight for that kid. I'm so sick and tired of this world we live in that needs to give people labels because we or they don't conform to the way they need it to be. Fuck you. Like so that's what I do, man. I wake up every day to try to be an example for kids that are like looking for an example and they're like, I don't resonate with that and I don't resonate with that and I don't like that my parents say this and I was diagnosed with ADHD and now I can't go to school and I got to put on medication. I don't like the way the medication makes me feel and I got to go to this special school or I'm working with this person. It's like, dude, you're just uniquely you, man. How about we just agree that everybody's different and especially kids, because they don't have the privilege of being self-aware enough to know if you're asking a duck to be an eagle, you're an asshole. Like that's the problem, is that some parents, teachers, therapists are literally saying, you're not acting like this. And that means you're broken. There's nothing wrong with you, man. Dude, I went my whole life from 8 7, 8 to 17, 18, honestly, into my early 20s, thinking there was something wrong with me. And then I discovered, what if there's nothing wrong with me and there's something wrong with everybody else? Not everybody. The cool part is I found my homies, my people. I'm like, oh, you're like me. Oh, cool. Is there others? Oh, there's others like us. Dude, when I moved to San Francisco at 28, I felt like I came home to the mothership. I went to a coffee shop and I looked around and everybody had Mac laptops and they were either working on pitch decks or code. And nobody talked about an idea that was less than $1 billion idea. And back where I came from in Eastern Canada, I was considered an outcast and weird and driven and all these things. And I'm like, oh shit, nothing wrong with me. It's my environment, man. So that's my mission.
I want to point out that your goal is infinite, and that with an infinite goal, you can't really achieve it, but you can try your best. So that always gives you some purpose. And it kind of explains some of your behaviors that you never feel like you always want to teach people, and like infinite number of people that can be taught. So you just always have something to fill your time with. But yeah, you said a lot I want to touch on there. What do you think ADHD is?
I consider it the evolutionary hunter. Back in the day, when we were in a tribe, the ADHD people were the ones that went out and got the fucking food. And then we moved to this society of farming and agriculture. And all of a sudden, those people were seen as weird because they didn't want to sit there in a factory and process things. Like they're okay being uncomfortable. They're okay. The energy side, the lack of focus, the lack of attention, that's what makes them a great hunter, because when they are in hyper focus, because they have to produce for their family, like, dude, people with ADHD, they go to a coffee shop that's banging and loud, and that's where they work. I do my best work in an airport, or I have to listen to music. I literally have to listen to it's not called ADHD music, but it's essentially EDM music with no vocals. Yeah. With a timer to gamify it for me to drop in. Cause this is how, when I was writing code, I had to learn how to earphones on and plug in. And I realized there's nothing wrong with me. It's just the world shifted. And then now all of a sudden we've got all these labels. And the truth is, I think a lot of it is nutrition, bro. There's so much wrong with the way we're eating and consuming food. Red dyes, a lot of sugars, highly processed. And I think we're going to wake up. I think AI is going to wake up one day and analyze it and go, you guys are dumb. You should stop, and give us all the arguments why we should stop doing the way we do food. And we'll all go oh, wow, thank you. I can't believe it's taken us this long to realize whole foods is actually a better way to eat. So most kids that have ADHD have a problem with nutrition and exercise. They don't get enough exercise and they're not eating for their brain. And then the ADHD gets amplified and they're not asked to do tasks that are actually anything clear, aligned to their passions, bro. They're being asked to sit there, not ask questions and not move around and not bug other people. It's one of my kids goes to an outdoor school. It's called it's literally called an outschooling. So they spend most of their time outside in trees, in nature, learning about the world. They use the city as the classroom. And those kids that thrive in that, you couldn't ask them to just sit down and follow class 1, class 2, class 3. So that's what I think it is. I think it's the evolutionary hunters. I think we've always been here. We were very productive and people depended on us and everybody revered us, and we were considered some of the most important people in our tribe. And then the world shifted. And all of a sudden there's a problem because we don't want to sit there quietly in a factory floor cranking out widgets.
It's an interesting perspective. I would love to see the correlation between ADHD rates.
Oh, ADHD with CEOs is 73%.
That makes sense. I guess I was thinking along the lines of people in Los Angeles with ADHD versus people like I'm from a small town in Kentucky, you're from a small town in Canada, like where the nutrition is much worse.
Oh, dude,
like,
that'd be fascinating. I like the rapid fire, man. You got other ones?
Yeah. Okay, these are actual rapid fire. Craziest business idea you never launched?
X Lights. It was a Christmas light platform to allow rich people to have the Christmas lights designed and put on their house without ever having to buy or manage their Christmas lights. That's not that crazy.
Craziest? No, that's good.
I know, but it's like, I think it exists today, but I came out with it in 1996.
Craziest business idea that you want to launch still?
I want, and I will, and I'm working on it right now. It's not launching. It'll take a while because the science has to catch up. I want to create an AI that helps people manage their team, their business. I think most people are shitty bosses. I would like for them to develop into really productive leaders. And I need the AI to monitor their behavior and kick their ass. I think if I could, and I'm doing it right now, we have one of these pins, these AI pins, one of my team members, Optins, wears. Because I think if people had to analyze the way they talk and the words they use, I could tell you everything about you based on what you say during the day. So I think in the future, think Zoom meetings, think Slack messages, email, eventually we'll be able to build an AI that if you want, you can just drop into your business and it will help you translate your weird fucking communication style that causes you to be an asshole boss, hopefully into, it's almost like those language translation tools, right? Where you speak English and it speaks in Spanish. Like you want to say this and it goes, no, say it this way. And you're like, all right, I'll try that. And all of a sudden magically you're a great leader for somebody. That will exist, but that's going to take some harder science to figure out.
We should dive into more of the leadership portion, but smartest person no one talks about.
Oh, that's so good. That's such a fun question. I want to think about that. I mean, it would have been Naval, and then he went on Joe Rogan, and that changed it all. My brother, Pierre, a long time ago, people can Google this. I started my YouTube channel, and like interviews were obviously easier to do than try to teach. And I asked Pierre to come on, and we talked. It was cool because like I gave him the startup money to start his home building company because he gave me $63.50 when I was 16 running from the cops. Like it's.
And how much was the startup money? Just to get
$173,000.
Yeah, you gave your brother. He gave you 63 and you gave him 173K. Yeah.
It was everything I had. And it was everything he had at the time. And we had this conversation in my living room, set up the cameras. It was just him and I. And we just talked about life. And that was the first time. And we both had been in business at that point for like 15 years, multimillionaires. But we never actually had a chance to reflect and to talk about it and the lessons learned. Like we were building, we were doing, and he's like my best friend. We talk like 3 times a week and I call him and that podcast, if you listen, I couldn't be any prouder of my brother. If you listen to that podcast and I know why, it was one of the most viewed podcasts and the title wasn't clickbait. It's just, if you hit play, you had to listen. It was beautiful because I think in his industry of being a home builder, being around like carpenters and plumbers and like that kind of tradespeople, there's this like not high IQ, not sophisticated type behavior or not reflective. You know what I mean? Like they're not deep technically. And my brother, man, I'd ask him a question and he'd share it. I was like, again, knowing where we came from and as kids, like that's what's cool. Like knowing that both of us got in trouble with the law. We're troublemakers. We're outcasts. Nobody was going to vote us as most successful in anything, let alone live past 21. And here we are vibing, talking. And he's just spitting fire. His answers were, I was like, bro, writing it down. Hire for the soul, train for the role. Where did you learn that? I don't know.
What's one thing your brother taught you?
Dude, grit. My brother, I don't think he'd mind me sharing this, but his first big project was a 16-unit apartment building way over his skis. Outsourced his confidence to somebody else because he didn't feel like he had enough experience to do it. Brought in a partner. And the guy it didn't work out. But the thing that he did that I'll never forget is to finish the building, to get the tenants in, to cover the mortgage. Because like when you have a construction loan, like you're paying it. The elevator company went bankrupt. So he built a 16-unit building around an elevator design size, and the company goes bankrupt and he doesn't have an elevator. And I only found this out months later. And I found out he drove 13 hours to the headquarters where the elevators were made, begged the security guard to get in, to get the elevator stuff, shipped it, paid it, like figured it out to avoid essentially losing everything he had built up to that point. 13 years of building his business. He could have lost it all in that one project. You know, when I read stories like if you've ever read Shoe Dog, Phil Knight, founder of Nike, I'm going to ruin it for people, but it's worth knowing. At one point, Nike back in the 70s owed $23 million in taxes. I would have shut the Jack, I'm telling you, I'll be honest with you. If I was Nike at that point, Dan Martell at that point, and I'm Phil Knight, I would just be like, I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to start a new thing tomorrow, doing the exact same thing, and I'm going to start from scratch. Phil Knight says no. Nike, brand, athletes, team, I will pay it. And it took him like a decade. That dude deserves and has earned every penny he has. My brother has earned and deserves every penny he has because he has taught me, and those stories teach me, man, when you think you're out, there's more. And it's just so inspiring. That was like my brother's grit from the whole story. It's such a freaking incredible story of almost losing it all several times. Dude, when I see him build, now he's building like a 300 unit complex. And he's younger than me, man. He's 42. He's just the coolest. Knowing where we came from, that's the smartest person I know that nobody knows.
I love that. What's the easiest business to make money?
AI automation right now. So easy.
Hardest business to make money?
Anything with a lot of people. Yeah, anything like labor. Yeah, people. Business would be easy if it wasn't for people. Especially if you're starting, man, because you just don't have enough reps to understand how to communicate and manage people. So I would say if you think of like a business anybody could start that would have a lot of labor, I would think lawn care, unskilled labor.
Strangest part of your routine that you swear by? If you have one.
Oh, I have some strange stuff. Yeah, I do this Mendy brain training tool. So essentially I wear a device. I use this app on my phone, the Mendy app with the device, and it allows me to activate my prefrontal cortex. And I'll tell you why I swear by it. A long time ago, one of my mentors shared his philosophy, incredible communicator, on the idea of being able to pull vocabulary. That if you think about it, all your success exists on the backside at the right moment to be able to say the right words to the other person. Think about it right now. If I'm able to connect to the essence of what you are asking me, and I can give you the point, the hook, the story, the lesson, least amount of fluff, most concise, Ocean 11, right? Like, don't say it in 7 words when you could have said it in 4, which is pulling vocabulary from wherever. It's the ultimate skill. So when he shared that with me and I started looking down the path of like, how do I sharpen my mind? Creatine,
that's a good
NMN, and brain training with Mendy.
What was the second one?
NMN. NMN is the precursor to NAD+.
Got it. Yes.
And NAD is one of the most interesting molecules to help with my cognitive focus. So that cocktail of those 2 supplements plus the Mendy brain training, I've personally like seen my ability to pull vocabulary.
Have you tried methylene blue?
No, but my buddy gave it to me once mountain biking and it made my mouth blue. And then I was like, bro, why does it look like I friggin' Anyways, I'm not going to say what I said to him, but I was like, dude, let's just say there was Smurfs involved. I was like, bro.
Something with Papa Smurf.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. So I haven't done it. I don't do nicotine. I don't do a lot of substances that I'm worried that I would get addiction to. So I don't do like the Zyn stuff or the other stuff, sprays.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are ones that I feel really like I've tried when I'm doing it and when I'm not, and I can see the cognitive difference.
Did you mention what the brain waves do exactly?
It's prefrontal cortex. Essentially, it just allows you, it's kind of like what meditation does. Because that's all meditation does. Meditation allows you to create separation from your thoughts and reactions. Like, we are not our thoughts. Like, I want people to understand that your thought that you just had is not who you are. You do not choose your thoughts. You choose a response to your thought. You choose what you focus on that will generate other thoughts, but you don't choose your thoughts. So creating separation and the ability to pull the right things at the right moment is a powerful thing. But even just personal like happiness, when you can create space from something happening and my reaction, that's where peace exists. It's literally in the space.
Yeah.
And most people, I'm sure that's what some of these supplements do. It just allows you to kind of like sit in a more calm and aware and connected space. And that's what the Mendy app for me, it like allows me to activate that part of my brain instead of like the reptilian brain that's very like flight or fight. It allows me to, and I'm sure I could probably get there with meditation. I think I just love the gamification of it.
100K from scratch. You got 30 days. Remove the social media, remove the employees. What do you do?
I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell social media marketing to real estate agents, and I'm going to use AI to deliver. Here's why. One, most people have a hard time selling because they don't know who to talk to. So then you do a bunch of bullshit like LinkedIn messages or cold emails or, door knocking. I would rather sit in an office and just phone call. And even better than phone call, real estate agents will respond to text messages. Okay, and don't tell me it's not legal. I'm not talking about legal. If you have to follow the letter of the law to start a business, you're never going to start a business. So you guys can just put that to the side. I don't care. Figure it out. But every real estate agent in any city, their phone number is public. And guess what? They will answer because that's their job. So then how do I create an offer that they'll buy? Well, I use AI to help me. I use AI to create the offer, to actually create the delivery, to give me the script, to do everything, to pick up the phone and call. The problem is most people are never going to pick up the phone to call. They're going to hide. They're going to hide behind their keyboard. They're going to pretend like, oh, it's not that easy. Just try. Do the cold call. Dude, the one thing about me, JFDI is kind of like my thing. It was my license plate for a long time, which stands for just fucking do it. I was giving a keynote yesterday, bunch of really, 8-figure entrepreneurs. And they were like, how do I find a creative director like you found? And I said, call the local college. And they're like, and say what? I'm like, you guys are literally going to pretend like you don't know. So I just on stage pulled out my phone and called the local college. Asked the receptionist, you guys have a media class? Yes. Who's a professor? John Smith. Perfect. I hung up the phone. He's like, why'd you hang up? I said, watch. Called back. Yeah, can I speak to John Smith? Yeah, no problem. Let me patch you through.
Who's the best student?
Who are the top 2 people if you could buy stock in, you would buy stock in them? This person, this person. Perfect. I'm going to stop in tomorrow. I'm a company, we're hiring, and I'm looking for the right people. They may not be the right person. I take a step back. They may not be the right person, right? I'm not overselling, but I'd love to have a quick conversation with them. Would that be okay? Yeah, no problem. Perfect. I'll see you tomorrow at 3. And like that kind of stuff is what I think I do that's given me an advantage. I default to action. I don't overthink it. I don't overanalyze it. I realize the only next step is to get somebody to commit to something. And anything that sits in between those two things is just made up busy work to get ready to do nothing that needs to get done. So if I did that, I could literally document the whole thing, get to 100K, 30 days, 17 days, dude. Like I'm looking at the math. If I'm willing to work 16 hours a day and just call, sell, onboard, right? Automate the onboarding, get an intake form, text it to the person. As soon as I close the deal, link to the Stripe, they pay, automate it, boom, boom, boom. And I'm doing that. And then I raise my prices. I got more proof point. I can use their names. I create compression in the market. Now I can say Jack Neel, and then the other person knows your name. We're working with you. Oh, if you're working with them, the sales get easier. The snowball.
What are you selling, by the way?
I'm selling social media marketing to real estate agents.
With AI?
Yeah, I'm using AI to do whatever I sold. And then you're going to ask me, what did you
Okay.
sell? Well, I asked the AI to tell me what I sold. Creating videos from listings, writing better listings, managing their social media accounts. Like I would ask AI to tell me what I should sell, and I would try to sell. And if I can't sell it, I would say, hey, that didn't work. Give me something better. And it would give it to me. And then I would just do the fulfillment using AI. When all the problems are no longer problems, then the problem to solve is, what problem do I focus on? Do you know what I'm saying, Jack? Some people lose me when I say that. When AI can solve every problem you might have, then the question to ask is, what do I work on?
Mm-hmm.
So like everything that you would need to know to do anything is now given to you. You need to learn how to prompt the AI, because most people don't know how to talk AI. It's called prompt engineering. But once you know how to talk to it and make it be specific, the problem is that your brain is going to stop you from doing it. You're going to overthink it. You're going to be scared. What if they say no? Dude, what if you never call, you ding dong? What's worse? Like the rejection you never got because you self-rejected yourself, or the no? I'd rather a no. And all I hear is not now. I never heard a no. This was so interesting, Jack. I've never ever, when somebody says, no, Dan, I go, not now. That's cool. I'll follow up. Dude, I've done deals with people. The CEO that's running Martell Ventures today, my AI venture studio, Roddy, I've been trying to hire him for 13 years. And I got him with a text. Finally, I came up with this really smart text that said, you're way too fucking smart not to be really rich. And he had a not eight figure, but he had a multi-million-dollar company and da-da-da-da-da. And his reply was like, you're right. I was like, we should talk. He's like, let's talk. After 13 years of trying to pull him into my orbit. But I sent that text message to 13 people. All these really great, talented people in my life that I would love to work with. So like, I think most people just lack the level of intensity around the outcome to make money. And you just gotta attack it, man. I just told everybody how to do it. They're just not going to do it. You know, if Dan just told everybody how to do it, then everybody's going to be doing it. Then nobody's going to want to take my call. And I'm going to call and they're going to be like, yeah, somebody just called me just like this. That's what they're going to say. Guess what? We both know they're not going to do it. 98% of people listening to this right now will not do it. And those 2% are going to go make $100,000 and they're going to move on with their life and learn a bunch of stuff and use that.
The only time I feel as though people actually do it is when it feels like it's like a secret, like I accidentally said something.
Yeah.
Like you let that slip.
Yeah.
Like people have to feel like they have just such an advantage with the knowledge.
Because it overcomes what I just said. It overcomes the belief that everybody's doing it, because if you just let it slip, then it's a secret. That's why calling anything a secret is the best way to market it without doing too much work.
Right.
Right. But what really happens is most people won't do things until they're desperate. That's the unfortunate part, bro. Like, Jack, I wish people could do things out of inspiration, but most people do things out of desperation.
It's true.
I mean, no, because I'm a byproduct of it.
Yeah.
Until shit got bad and I hit rock bottom in my life, I wasn't ready. I wasn't sick and tired of being sick and tired enough to go, okay, there's got to be a different way to do this, to be open to a better way. Prior to that, too smart, too busy, you know what I mean?
You don't have to hit rock bottom every time.
No.
Go
Luckily,
bankrupt to win.
No. Thank God you don't.
Like, it's usually what starts most people off, but the only way to grow is to feel as though you deserve it without some of the more hard stuff.
Dude, that's one of the beliefs that I had for a long time. I'm not going to be successful unless I go bankrupt. Mm-hmm. What a stupid idea.
3 questions. Sound good?
Yeah.
One that's selfish, that ties into what we talked about at the beginning. I'm in a place of my business. Let's just say the expenses for my company, $25,000 a month. And I burnt a lot of capital in the beginning of building my business. And it's finally at a place where it's breaking even. But it's hard to justify spending more money on the business to grow it. So I'm just stuck in this place where there's so much stuff I want to do. Like you mentioned posting carousels. You mentioned like community tab on YouTube. And I refuse to do it because I know it's not the highest leverage thing. And I have maxed out like a lot of my employees' bandwidth, like have people doing so many different tasks. Like my researcher posts my videos, does our payroll, that was my researcher. So it's like, how do I grow without more, like in this place where to get top level talent is going to cost so much.
Yeah.
Like I need someone to do a thumbnail that's better than me. And I've been doing this for years. And I like to think that I'm one of the better people at it, but I can't afford the person who's the best at it.
Yeah. I think first off, we have to separate that it takes money to make money, because what it really requires is resourcefulness.
Right.
The good news is what you have that most people don't is a mission big enough to have other people's dreams and goals fit inside of. Most people can't do what I'm about to do because they think too small. Because you think big enough, if you get better at communicating that mission and vision, I would encourage you to figure out a way to bring people into your life that can help you get all this stuff done, that either you pay out of internship where they get the benefit of being around you, or better yet, hire the best, pay them later. And that strategy, I had no idea was even available to me. The first business kind of coach I ever hired, this guy, Stu, I didn't have the money to hire him. Okay. So I had my first coach, Bob, he helped me build the business, but then I went to like another level, and Stu's the one like, dude, just pay me out of profits. Now, if I would have sat back and said, oh, well, I can't hire Stu until I can afford to pay him, and I can't afford to pay him now, I would have never had him in my life. I got him in my life maybe 18 months before I could have afforded him. Mm-hmm. And it was his creativity, resourcefulness. That's why Stu, that he said that. And then I realized that at any point I feel like there's a constraint in my business, the only thing stopping me is being resourceful enough to solve the constraint. And if I choose to use money as the thing, it's out of my control. Instead of, this is the question: what needs to be true for you to do that work for me? That's the question you ask the thumbnail designer, an assistant, whoever. What needs to be true for you to work for me without getting paid for the next 6 months until I can get things better? Now, that's why they're going to need a vision. They need you to communicate the vision. But I've seen the best people quit the best jobs to go work for a startup that didn't pay them for 18 months, that they lived out of their own savings to be part of that mission because of the vision of the founder.
And it doesn't have to be equity.
No, it could literally be, I'll never be able to pay you, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And here's why. And you paint a vision and they go, geez, that sounds crazy and fun. And I'm hating my life right now. I've got some money saved up. I want to do that with you, Jack.
And that's more powerful than money a lot.
Dude, it's alignment. That's what I'm saying. When your mission is big enough for their personal mission to fit inside of and align with, that's what church is about. That's what startup culture is about. That's what nonprofits are about. This is not a new concept. It's always been there. We just pretend like we don't see it.
Well, thank you. I need to be more resourceful about it.
Now we're talking.
I also need to stop learning skills. That was a takeaway. I might have taken the wrong thing when you said this earlier. I was like, I do need to be dumber. Like I shouldn't even know how to like open Premiere on my computer to edit a video. I shouldn't even know how to like download the app, because like that's not how you get the good result. You just know enough about it to make someone good at it.
You got to build a machine. That's the skill that every creator needs to just know, is how do I build a machine? Let the people run the machine.
I hate to ask you this, but you've gone viral with it maybe 1,000 times. I'll ask it a bit differently. Should parents punish their kids for bad grades?
I have a problem with grades. Here's my problem with grades. I didn't create the test. I don't even know what it's supposed to test. I don't know if I agree with the test. I don't know how they were I don't know how they were taught. I don't know the qualifications of the teacher. And I've just gotten to the place that all I've ever asked a school to do is teach them to read, write, and basic math. And then my belief, even though one of my kids goes to public school, the other one goes to private school, my belief is all kids are homeschooled. It's whether the parents realize it or not. And when a kid doesn't do well in school, there's probably other factors that personally I'm going to take accountability to as a parent. And if I choose to want to make it better, like if they can't do basic reading, yes, that's a problem. Punish them is wild. Punish them is kind of dumb because I'm like, the parent's the responsible person that should be involved or not. I just don't care if they can't memorize the Egyptian gods. Zero concern about them. And have you seen, you've probably not seen the way the school grading is. It's not even like out of 100%. It's like developing, or I don't even know, man. It's so dumb. It's so soft language. It's like, when somebody works for me, it's black and white, man. It's like, this is your quota. Did you hit it? If you didn't, then we're clear. There's no like this like nerfed out English to like make you feel good about yourself. So I don't know, man.
You think grades don't matter for kids?
I don't care about my kid's school grade. Every time they get their report card, and now it's just become like, we don't talk about it.
What do you track instead?
How do they show up for other people? Are they kind? Are they resourceful? Are they creative? Do they use language that is debilitating and scarcity mindset, or do they talk with abundance and opportunity and vision? Dude, I care more about that. I care more that they ask the person their name. Like if you met my kids, they would come up to you, shake you in the hand, say, I'm Max or Noah. What's your name? And you go, Jack. And they go, nice to meet you, Jack. What a crazy idea. Do you know how many adults I freaking meet at events and can't even look at me in the eyes? That's wild. And then we're trying to like, you're going to be successful because you can memorize shit and go to school for 18 years. The world's not going there, man. The world. And then like AI. The kids get in trouble at school for using AI. What world are we going into where the kid is not going to have to use it as a co-pilot to accomplish something? So you're handicapping them before they even get into the job market. Dude, my kids were using AI as soon as it was available to create stories and graphics and design their lemonade stand with Midjourney. Like, dude, but again, my kids are homeschooled. I'm intentional about it. So I don't care what some test that somebody else created about my kids winning or not, and whatever kind of assessment, when I look at them and who they are from a character point of view.
So you make content so your kids can learn from their dad forever. You make content for your brother. You make content for the world, your employees. If all of it was deleted and all they could listen to were the next 60 seconds, what message would you leave them?
It's the thing I sign in every one of my books. And it's one part a request, the other part fun. Because if people spend enough time with me, I think I'm a little bit of both. It's no small plans, man. Dude, I wish somebody would have sat me down when I was starting and just say, dream bigger. Bigger. Not bigger from a place of like not enoughness or lack, but just place from of like, it makes everything funner, dude. Like you saw my reaction when you told me I want to be number one. You pumped me up. And that's why like the no small plans mantra, bigger, no small plans. If you feel like it's small, good. You feel like it's small for a reason. Bigger. Because it's funner, man. Then you get to have other people join you on the ride. You get to inspire other people by your boldness. You know, I love watching my wife be unapologetic about the vision she wants to create, man. Bigger, no small plans. Dude, if everything I do, if people like distilled it, it'd be that concept. Just don't do small. We're not doing small. If you can breathe air right now, don't do small.
If I gave you an extra 30 seconds, would it be for your wife or for your brother?
Dude. It's so 50-50.
You can do 15 for each if you'd like.
It's so 50-50, bro. I see the beauty of my wife's capabilities. Like she is so talented. She's crazy. She's so creative. She does this thing that I can't figure out, where she attracts money, people. She attracts it. I work at it. And then I see my brother, and the reason why bigger for him is because I want good people to be as rich as humanly fucking possible. I want the best people to get the money. I had a client once and she was pissed off about rich people this, rich people that. I said, if you don't like what they're doing with the money, go get it. She's like, oh, it's easier to say than do. I said, yeah. If that doesn't motivate you, stop complaining. If you don't like the way wealth is distributed, go get it and distribute it the way you want. So that's why I say that to Pierre.
Everyone, this is the Jack Neel Podcast. This is your guest, Dan Martell. Where can people find you?
Instagram, my favorite. Follow me on Instagram, 2L's of Martell. Message me. Let me know you heard me here. Jack Neel, tell me. I love talking to people, chatting with people on social. It's one of my favorite things.
One of my favorites we've had on.
I appreciate it, man.